So, welcome again, audience. So, our second session is going to start now. So, and the speaker is Dr. Manjeet Bansal. So, I will give you a brief introduction of Dr. Manjeet Bansal now. So, Dr. Manjeet Bansal is presently working as a professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, Punjab Technical University, Bathinda. Dr. Manjeet Bansal did his PhD from NIT Kurukshetra in the year 2011. And his research areas mainly include water supply and wastewater engineering, wastewater treatment technologies, and concrete technologies. And he has total 61 number of research publications. He has written 6 books, and Dr. Bansal has guided 7 students for their PhD, and 3 are presently under progress. And he has supervised 115 MTech dissertations, and he is also actively involved in different consultancy projects being undertaken by various state governments and central government. Uh, and Presently, he is also holding the charge of Dean Consultancy and Industry Linkage, Department of Civil Engineering, Maharaja Ranjit Singh, Punjab Technical University, Bathinda. So now I would like to welcome Dr. Manjeet Bansal to share his views and guide the audience about his work. Thank you. So, Dr. Manjeet Bansal, please start, sir.
So,
Welcome, Manjit sir.
thank you. Good morning to all. So, first of all, I am very much thankful to all the organizers which have given me a chance to share my views on this topic, wasteland management in India. So, especially thanks to Dr. Bohar Singh, who is my student also, my colleague is also my colleague, and he is also my younger brother. So let us now start this topic, wasteland management in India. Waste land. So first of all, we'll proceed with the presentation. So first of all, what is waste? How we can define a waste? So basically, a waste is that material, we can say simply, that is not useful, that we cannot use for any specific purpose. So that is a waste. Now, when we are talking about wasteland, so then the concept is simple: the land which we cannot use for our purposes, the land which we cannot use for our fruitful results. Clear? So in this whole lecture, we will discuss these topics. What is this wasteland? So types of wasteland we will discuss one by one. Then why these are formed, why these wastelands are formed. So then why the reclamation of the wasteland is necessary. Then how we can reclaim these wastelands. Clear?
This
Then
conference will now be recorded.
Part of wasteland management, water management, crop management. So this is wasteland. What is the Indian scenario of wasteland? So then lastly conclusions. So first of all, as we all know, that land, which is which also we say motherland. So this is the most, because if we compare air, water, so this is the most precious or most beautiful gift on this planet Earth. Clear? And various species of plants, animals, microbes grows on this, and they complete their life cycle. Clear? So basically, whatever is on the earth, the primary source of food, whosoever survives on the earth, that comes from the plants, various plants in the different forms. They are specifically grown for that purpose. Clear? So as the human science progresses, technology progresses, so we can say in the form of plots which were in the earlier days, that takes the shape of agriculture. So that agriculture products, that agriculture products so those agriculture products which we get by various agriculture practices, they now serve as, or they can, we are using those products as a raw material for the various needs of the human beings. Now this land which is available on earth, all we know, this is not uniform. Geographically it is different. How we can say geographically? Because in in some areas of the world there are different types of people. English people are there, Australian people are there, Negroes are there, Indians are there. That is, we can say this is geological difference. Then geographically, when we talk about geographically difference, so geographically we can say in some of the areas throughout the world, desert land is there. In some of the area, volcanoes are there, water bodies are there, fertile land is there. So this is how the land is different on the basis of geographical. When we talk about environmental or climatically, then we can say according to climate throughout the world, in some part of the world there is very low temperature, in minus also, and in some of the areas there is very high temperature. So similarly, in some of the areas there is a variation in the seasons also different. So that is how throughout the world this land is different. So on land different types of vegetation for their survival occurs. Sometimes some part of the lands are not productive. So when we talk about productiveness of the land means unproductive, so then the next question rises, why this land part is unproductive? Why it is not producing the useful products which we need? So the reason behind that may be various natural causes or man-made causes that causes the formation of wastelands. Then next one is am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir. Please
Yes, sir,
continue.
you are audible.
Please continue.
Next, we will discuss next topic is that how we can define a wasteland. So as we have discussed in the starting, that barren or degraded lands which do not fill their life sustaining potentials. What does it mean? That in a universe anything if sustains, so that sustains for a specific purpose. So similar case is here, that if suppose land is there, so that is to be used for agricultural purpose or some other purposes. So if we cannot use that land for specific purpose for fruitful results, then that is known as wasteland. Similarly, common definition is that any type of land which because of negligence of the land may be due to various reasons. Overuse means if we are using for agriculture purposes, so then without giving the rest to the land, we are overusing that, one after one crop then another crop. Then degradation by climatic conditions or man-made factors. So climatic conditions means there may be extreme climatic conditions which affects the fertility of the land. So by covering these reasons, if we are not able to use that particular land for its fullest up to its fullest potential, then we can define that as a wasteland. Similarly, one board is there, that is the National Wasteland Development Board, Government of India. It defines wasteland, land which is presently degraded and is lying unutilized. Clear? So accept the current fellow due to different constraints. What does this mean? He defines that wasteland is that part of the land which is not giving the fruitful results or which is lying unutilized, and for some specific purpose we have kept some part of the land for future reasons. So accept that we will not that open part of the land we will not consider into wasteland, which we have kept for some specific purpose. Then the next question comes that what is this various types of wastelands. So we basically divide the wasteland into broadly two categories. Then we will further subdivide those two categories into further. So first one is our cultural wasteland, second one is our non-cultural wasteland. So cultural wasteland means that wasteland which we can culture without much difficulty, means we can reclaim that wasteland into useful land without much difficulty, or sometimes that part of wasteland reclaim or converted into useful land by their own means. And whereas in case of non-cultural level wasteland, so this is that part of wasteland which we cannot easily convert into useful part, so we have to do a lot of efforts for conversion of that wasteland into useful land. So that is non-cultural. Means culturable wasteland and non-cultural basic difference is that where least efforts are required, so that is culturable. Where maximum efforts are required to convert into a reclamation of the wasteland, that is non-cultural. Then further classification of this wasteland is, first one is culturable. So in the culturable different categories are there, in the non-culturable different categories are there. So we will discuss one by one. So this is culturable wasteland. So in that first category is gullied or ravenous wasteland. So means as you can easily see in the picture that this is that type of wasteland in which gullies are formed. So why this formed? Because of sometimes what happens, runoff, that is runoff from where it results from rainfall. So that runoff or rainfall water flows at very high speed. So that runoff erodes the soil also, and when the soil erosion takes place, then different types of gullies or small holes are formed, and that small holes in the form of gullies which are formed, that also affects the fertility of the soil, and sometimes that can become zero. So this is our first subtype of your culturable waste. Second one is your steep sloping area or undulating uplands. So as the name indicates, a steep sloping area means that which is having high slope or the ground is or land part is not leveled. There are different undulations at different levels. Clear? So mean slope 3 to 10 degree. So generally these are unsuitable for agriculture purposes because of their high degree of slope. So simple thing is that we know when the ground is slopy, so then water will flow very fast. So similarly, if the wind speed is more, so then wind erosion will be more in that area. So in that particular part of the land which is having steep slope or undulating, so there will be bushes, grasses, weeds which are not useful. So this is the second classification of our cultural wasteland. Third one, third category of cultural wasteland is our waterlogged or marshy lands. So all we know what is a waterlogged area. Waterlogged area is that area we can say where water remains, the that part of land remains submerged in water throughout the whole year. So generally sometimes these parts of land become near coastal area or low-lying area, or sometimes like in Punjab, in Muxar district, this waterlogging problem is there because of the water table is high. So that part we can say wasteland because then a saline water comes. So that specifically that is part of the wasteland because we cannot use that part of the land for some purpose like agriculture or some other useful purpose. So example is in Muxar area, in Gidarwa Malot blocks, there are so much places of the these waterlogged area which are converted into wastelands. Fourth one, as we have discussed, salt affected lands. So in these types of particular parts, salts comes on the upper layers of the soil. So the depth of that layer, the salts, because the top layer of the soil covered by saline water, so sometimes salts also come on the top surface. So the depth of the layer, that saline layer, depends upon the how much salts are present. So depends upon that those salts may be soluble as well as inexchangeable. So pH, because all we know that if the pH of that soil or water is less than 7, then that is acidic in character, and if it is more than 7, that is alkaline in nature. So generally the pH is alkaline in, so above 7. So this is the fourth subcategory of our culturable wasteland. Fifth one is, fifth category is your degraded forest land. So as the name indicates, degraded forest land means we have removed the forest for our special needs, for our specific purposes, like for because we need fuel, we need firewood for different human purposes. So then if we have removed those parts, so then tree canopy has been reduced and trees converted into simply bushes or skeletal, we can say nothing remains. So that is our fifth category, that is degraded forest land, means we have converted that forest land for our specific purposes into simple skeletal which cannot use, and we cannot get the useful products from that forest. Then sixth category of our cultural your cultural wasteland is our shifting cultivation area. So shifting cultivation area, what does it means? You might have that term, listen the term gadri, zooming. I am explaining the zooming cultivation. So what happens in the earlier years? So these tribal people, those are sometimes known as Gadri also. So they stay at some place for some time. They do the cultivation for some crops. Then after some times they move to other place, because then that cultivation is as zooming cultivation, means they are not residing at one place for longer period. So then what happens when those people are using that particular part for cultivation for agriculture purpose, then it's okay. When they move to other place, so then that land which they have earlier used for their agricultural purposes, that is exposed to the natural conditions of weathering. So then your soil erosion, all these things take place, and that, but if care is not properly taken, then that part of the land which those tribal people have earlier used for their agriculture, that is converted into part of wasteland. So this is our sixth category of your cultural wasteland, that is a shifting cultivation area. Then your seventh category of your cultural wasteland is degraded pastures or grazing lands. So degraded pastures or grazing lands, what does it mean? Basically, we define these parts for these are the parts of the wastelands which are generally used by the animals for their routine food, like grazing. Various animals or cattle are grazing or taking their grass from these parts. So that is our degraded pasture or grazing. Clear? When various animals or cattle are roaming or are using that particular part of land, so then trembling of land is natural. So that is our seventh part of the cultural wasteland, that is your degraded pastures or grazing lands. Then eighth one is mining or industrial wastewater. So as the name indicates, we use mining for different purposes, for getting minerals of different types, for getting our sands and all these things. So that particular part from where we are doing mining, so that again converts into your one part of the wasteland, because of the, because then that is left open to the for various natural weathering processes. That weathering or that erosion may be due to wind, high speed wind, or due to water. So then that is our eighth category of your cultural wasteland, that is mining or industrial wasteland. Then ninth category is land with or without a scrub vegetation. So basically, what does it mean? Land with or without scrub vegetation. Scrub means झाड़ियां जो generally हम बात करते हैं. So basically, these plants are neither used for any specific purpose, and similarly, this these scrub vegetation is not useful, and they are not used by the animals or various cattle for their food also. So the land which produces these types of vegetation, that is also, that comes also the in the category of our wasteland, culturable wasteland. 10th category is your culturable wasteland. 10th category, degraded land under plantation crops. So the plantation crops, first one is monoculture. Monoculture agriculture lower the soil fertility. So what first of all, what does it means, monoculture agriculture? So monoculture agriculture means we are using single types of crops, as generally happens in the majority areas of Punjab. One time we are sowing the wheat, and other after wheat, then we sowing the your rice. So these are the major two crops used. So this also, if we are repeating the cycle, then also that affects our soil fertility. So this is our 10th category of culturable wasteland. So this is all about your culturable wasteland. So again, I am repeating what is the basic difference between culturable and non-culturable wasteland is. Culturable wasteland is that part of the land which we can convert into useful land part without much energy, without much efforts. And whereas non-culturable wasteland is that part of the land which we use all the efforts to convert, we put all the energy to convert that into useful. So now he defines in this slide that non-culturable wasteland is that part which can either be reclaimed with extreme difficulty or cannot be reclaimed at all. Means we either it is possible that we are not able to convert that into useful wasteland, or we put all the efforts, we put all the energy to convert that into wasteland. So in this, there are three categories which is visible on your screen. First one is barren rocky area, second one is sandy area, and third one is snow covered or glacier areas. So in the barren rocky area, so means as the name indicates, barren rocky area means area is rocky and that is not fertile, जिसको हम बंजर बोलते हैं हिंदी में. So like Marustal जिसको बोलेंगे, some part of the Rajasthan also. So presence of big and small rocks. When we talk about the barren land means if some rocks are there, you know, so the size or depends on their number. If their size is big, we cannot remove those. So then that part of the land we cannot convert into useful part. Whereas if the small rock parts are there and they are small in number, then that we can remove, and then that land can be converted into useful land by there we can plant different types of trees. Uh, we can use agriculture practice for different types of crops also. So that depends upon the area, that the size of the rocks and number of the rocks. So this comes the first category of your non-culturable wasteland, that is your barren rocky area. Second one is sandy area. So all we know that sandy area is not good for your useful purposes. So generally these sandy areas found in the deserts, coastal area. Coastal area means which are near the sea. Similarly, water bodies that is in the form of riverbeds, seashores. So in that comes our second category, that is sandy area, non-cultivable wasteland. So if we want to convert this into your useful land, so then lot of energy is wasted because there are different types of problems at the seashores. Salinity is again a problem. You know. In the deserts, again, it's not easy to convert that into fertile land to which can be used for various plantation trees or agriculture purposes. The third and last categories of non-cultivable wasteland is our snow-covered or glacier areas. So this generally happens in the hills, like you can say Leh Ladakh, some part of the Kargil areas, you know, some Himalayan hills. So that those remains in most of the times covered with the snow throughout the year. Clear? So that land is also a part of the wasteland, non-cultivable wasteland, and that is, I think, you all agree with me. So that portion of the land is impossible to convert into useful because bigger hills are there and it's a huge task to convert that portion into our useful area or useful part of the land. Now in the next slide, we will discuss that why these land which we are discussing, wastelands. So what are the reasons why these are formed? What are the various reasons why these wastelands are formed? So the first reason is that erosion of soil. How this erosion of soil takes place? Because when the speed of the wind is very high, dust storms are there. So then the useful part of the soil is eroded. Similarly, sometimes when floods are there, and water flows at very high speed, so then these two, when your high speed dust storms are there, similarly water is passing in the form of floods. So with these two effects, that in that area number of wastelands are generated or produced. Second reason is your salinization, alkalization, and inundation of the land area. Salinization is, as the name is clear from the name, means presence of salinity. Alkalinization means presence of alkalinity. Inundation of the land area, what is it means? That top layer of the fertile soil, again same which we have discussed in our first reason of the wasteland formation. Same is inundation of the land area means top layer of the fertile soil. Erosion of the top layer of the fertile land takes place due to your high speed of wind and water. Then the next reason for your wasteland formation is uh, there may be some natural factors like tsunami. You know, that generally tsunami occurs near coastal areas, near sea areas, sea shores. Similarly, floods. Floods generally occur in the monsoon seasons. In the we are listening the news and reading the news at various electronic media that floods are coming in Bihar, Assam. So this is also one of the reasons: tsunami, floods, and tidal action. Again, those takes place at your seashores and near the sea. Then next reason for wasteland formation is your anthropogenic activities, man-made activities. Like these are not natural; these are created by human being. Clear? So, and in the anthropogenic activities, excessive use of pesticides, fertilizers. So, just I will explain one thing in this topic. Excessive use of fertilizer and pesticides in the earlier 1960, green revolutions comes in Punjab, and all the farmers and all the people were very happy. Why? Because the yield of the wheat crop comes in the bumper form. But at that time, everybody was very happy that we had won a war. The yield of the wheat was increased with the use of the fertilizers, not natural fertilizers, which are urea, all these things, and pesticides. But nobody at that time in the 1916, nobody think that what will be the effect of these pesticides and fertilizers after 50 years. So the effect of extra usage of all these chemicals in the form of fertilizers, in the form of pesticides, we are now seeing that. in our Malwa region, lot of cancer cases are there. One train is going from Bathinda to Bikaner. The name of that train is now cancer train. So various scientists are studying the reasons why this Malwa belt is suffering from this very chronic problem like cancer. So there are various reasons. One of the reason is also coming from their studies, excess use of fertilizer and pesticides. So what happens? Our farmers are not so much educated. So what do they think? A simple farmer, if I will use more fertilizer, if I will use more pesticide, then I will get more crops. I will get the more yield of particular crop. Suppose your wheat or rice. They think like this. So they are using more. So they are on the loser side. First thing is that they are spending more money because they have to purchase the fertilizer and pesticide. Second thing is they are not understanding that they are excess use of these fertilizer and pesticide. They are adding to our excess use of pesticides and fertilizer, adding to our food chain. So that is what is happening. Next factor is your monocropping. Monocropping, I have already explained that monocropping means that in majority of the Punjab area we are using this, that we are at one time we are using we are sowing the wheat, and after that when wheat is harvested then we are using rice. So known as this is known as uh, monocropping. Then the next one is your improper disposal of industrial waste. So improper disposal of industrial waste means, as we know, there are different types of industries. So they are bound to dispose their effluent by treating them properly. When we are talking the term treating them properly means they have to treat their wastewater until all those parameters like BOD, COD, they comes in the permissible limits given by the Bureau of Indian Standards, whether they have to be discharged that wastewater on land or in water body. But actually what happens, because if the various industries have to treat that water, if the various industries have to treat that water properly to have those permissible limits like BOD, COD, various parameters in the permissible limit, then their cost is very much high. So I'm not talking that all the industries, majority of the industries, what they take, they treat the industrial wastewater in the partial form and then they dispose of on the nearby land. So after some times what happens, that land part on which a particular industry is disposing their wastewater by partially treating them, that part of land converted into wasteland. Similarly, your zooming cultivation we have already discussed, and illegal and indiscriminate mining of minerals. So where this mining is going on, so then without any control they are doing the mining, and after some time what happens, that part of the land we cannot use for any purposes, so that is again converted into your wasteland. Clear? So next reason for your wasteland is climate change and environmental conditions like changing rainfall pattern. So climate change, as we are observing that nowadays very hue and cry is there that all the seasons are shifting. We can easily see that duration of winter, with the passage of time, duration of winter is reducing. So and duration of the your summer is increasing. Average temperature is increasing day by day. If we are taking last 10 years temperature and suppose from 2000 to 2010 average temperature, then 2010 to 2020. So from 2010 to 2020, there is definitely increase in the average temperature. So that is also an alarming stage, and that is also responsible for conversion of your wasteland formation. Similarly, rainfall pattern in arid, or what is the difference between arid and semi-arid conditions? Arid conditions means where we can say full dry area is there, where the rainfall is less than 300 mm. 300 mm, that we say arid regions, fully dry area. And semi-arid regions means in that area some rainfall is there, some rainfall for some time. So we can define that is, if the rainfall is from 400 mm to 600 mm, then that area comes in the semi-arid uh, semi-arid conditions. So these are also causes for the formation of wasteland. Last point is our, that is your management constraints. Management constraint, what does it mean? Management constraints means in this you have a you have a fertile land, you have a useful piece of the land, but due to various management decisions, due to various policy matters, you are not able to use that for useful purposes. So that comes under your management constraint. So these were the some of the reasons, some of the causes which we discuss, which are responsible for various wasteland formations. So those may be your cultural wasteland formation or non-cultural wasteland formation. Next topic is your importance. Heading is importance of wastelands or need for wasteland reclamation. Now the question arises, why we are talking about that part which is a wasteland, why we should reclaim it, that why we should do that, you know? So the reasons are in front of you, that if we convert that part of the wasteland into useful land, so that serves as a source of income for various rural people living in that area. That is the reason why we are doing a lot of efforts for reducing the wasteland area. Second reason is you are helping in maintaining an ecological balance in area. What does this mean? I am repeating in, help in maintaining an ecological balance in area. Because if in that particular area, if the land part is wasteland, so then there will be no trees, there will be no plants, and all we know, trees, plants reduces the temperature and also cleans the environment. So that is the second reason why we go for wasteland reclamation. That helps in maintaining an ecological balance in that particular area. Third one is maintains the local climatic conditions, that we have already discussed. Maintains the local climatic condition means also reduces the temperature, also control rainfall, and all these effects reduces the pollution also. And second one is next point is your ensures a constant supply of fuel, fodder, and timber for local use. Now, if we have converted, if we are reclaimed a wasteland into useful part, so then naturally there will be agriculture for some. We will sow some trees. So those trees we can use, those plants we can use for fuel also for those local area people. That plants or trees can be used as a food for various animals, cattle in that particular area. Clear? So similarly, from those plants and trees, we can use timber for our various human consumption purposes. And the last factor, last reason, which why we go for this wasteland reclamation is that if we are able to convert that part of your wasteland into useful part of land, so then that also increases the soil fertility. So that fertile land we can use for our various purposes. So this is something about the your why we go for the reclamation of the waste. Then next one is how we can define this wasteland reclamation. What is the philosophy? What is the concept behind this wasteland reclamation? So how we can define this? So it is the process of turning barren land, sterile land into fertile land. Basically, sterile, barren, one and the same thing. We can say barren or sterile means wasteland. So basically, this wasteland reclamation is conversion of the wasteland into useful land in the form of fertile land or other purposes. So that is suitable for agriculture. Reclamation means recovering physical structure of the land to rebuild the ecosystems. Clear? So basically, wasteland reclamation means by various means conversion of that wasteland part into useful part, useful land part, which can we use that part of the land we can use for our various specific purpose. So these lands we can reclaim by three methods. So first one is topography and soil management. Second one is your water management. Third one is our crop management. So we will discuss these three methods one by one. First one comes your soil management. So are you able to see these pictures? Soil management,
Yes, sir. Yes,
which I
sir.
have.
No problem. Everything is visible and very good audible.
So in the soil management, how we will manage the soil, I have explained in detail by showing the pictures. First one is that in the earlier discussion, we have discussed that filling of the gullies and leveling. With the help of the erosion of your soil and water, there is formation of gullies. So if we will fill those gullies and will make those undulating land into level form, so then and after compaction of that soil, then we can convert that land wasteland into useful part. Clear? So on that land, after filling your gully and leveling and after compaction, that land we can after that we can plant in that land part various grasses, bushes along the water course. That will help a lot because हमने जमीन को बांध दिया है. We have fixed the land, so that will reduce the chances of the soil erosion. And when the chances of the soil erosion is reduced, then automatically our wasteland part is converted into useful part of the land. Second one is your terracing. So terracing also explained in with the help of a photograph. So basically in this part earth is shaped in the form of small level terracing. So this generally happens in the hilly areas. If you are visiting hilly areas, then you can see easily because the different steps are formed to hold soil and water. The basic purpose is that if we are holding soil and water, then erosion of the soil will not take place, and that holding of soil and water we can use when we require that. So this is a basic philosophy behind this terracing, which usually happens in your hilly areas. Third one is your scraping. Scraping. So basically, as the name indicates, scraping means to scrap. What does scrap means? To remove any something. So this technique is generally used for soil covering with 2 to 3 centimeter thick layer of salt. When we come across these types of saline soils where they are covered with 2 to 3 centimeter, so then generally we try to remove that 2 to 3 centimeter thick layer of salt. So that process is known as scrapping. That is our soil management, to convert a wasteland part of the land into useful part of that, which we can use for our purposes. Next point is your flushing. Flushing, as the name indicates, flushing means basically we want in the earlier discussion, scrapping and flushing. What is the difference? Basic purpose for these two are same, but in case of flushing, we use water. So the area is first filled with water and allowed to remain for few days. Then we remove that. Clear? So basic purpose is again same, to remove the 2-3 centimeter thick layer of salt. This is soil management. Deep plowing, as also shown on in your photograph. So this is generally used in that part of land where no crops are there. Matlab agriculture, that part of the land is not used for agriculture purposes, or that becomes undulating due to the various movement of the various animals, cattle, all this. Clear? So for those we go for plowing, so that soil pores of the soil are opened. Then those pores, free circulation of air takes place in those pores. So that is this deep plowing. The basic purpose of this deep plowing is that the soil pores of the soil get open and they can easily absorb moisture and oxygen, so that we can use that part of the land for useful purpose. Then the next one is drainage. So we have, in the earlier discussion, we have discussed waterlogged area. So we have to give the solution also. If wasteland part is waterlogged area, then we have to remove that waterlog by drainage system, which is explained also with the help of photographs. Clear? So then the next topic under soil management is your green manure and soil amendments. So basically this method is used for your, sometimes what happens when we are talking about wasteland, so some parts their fertility value, when we talk about fertility value of the soil or nutrients value of the soil, then one term is generally used, that is your NPK. NPK means whether your soil is rich in nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. And in the soil management, what we do, we use various methods with the help of which we can fix those elements NPK, like visible on your screen. This what is this legume method of crops? Basically, these in this method contains nodules. Nodules means जिसको हम गाठें बोलते हैं. So in those nodules there is a bacteria. There is a bacteria. When it works, so then that transfers nitrogen. That transfers nitrogen to the soil. So this is that method with the help of which we can do the soil management to convert that part of the soil in a rich NPK way. Then next one is wind breaks. So this method of soil management is generally used in the areas having loose, dry, sandy soil. What happens if the area is having loose, dry, sandy soil, and in that particular area, wind is blowing with high speed. So then after some times that area will be converted into wasteland. So to prevent those conditions, we plant trees. We plant or grow trees on the boundaries of the wastelands and the banks of the water courses. What happens when we plant trees on the boundaries of the wasteland as well banks of the water course? So basically वो those plants and trees जमीन को बांध देते हैं. So trees like neem, shisham, bamboo, all these are used. Then when high speed winds are there, so then there is no erosion of the soil will take place. Then in the next topic, next heading is silt trapping dams. So this is also one of the method which we use to reduce the soil erosion, because small dams of reasonable height is constructed. Basic purpose is to reduce soil erosion as well as to reduce the runoff speed of water, because when small dams of reasonable height are formed, so the speed of the water will be reduced, and that is the basic purpose. Because if we want to control the soil erosion, water erosion, then this is a method. Then with the help of picture, contour fouring and wounding is concerned, again this mulching. Contour fouring and wounding means we make drains in between. Again the purpose is same. If we make drains in between, so means the velocity or speed of the water is reduced so as to avoid the water erosion, which also causes your soil erosion. Now mulching. In this case again, grass is used on the as a top layer, which maintains water for some times, and we can manage the soil. So this was all about your soil management, how we can manage the soil. Clear? So how we can manage the soil, how we can manage the soil for conversion or for wasteland reclamation. Now in the next topic, we will discuss how we can manage the water. How we can manage the water. So water we can manage we have three options. When we talk about the management of water, then we have three options. One is addition of water for irrigation purposes. Second one is protection means conservation of water, because all you know, there is a famous quotation nowadays in discussion, if the fourth word war will be there, then that word war will be for water. So by considering that, this is very important. Protection of water means conservation of water. Then third one is basically it is not damage, it is drainage. So please read correct. There is some typing error. It is basically drainage. So what does drainage means? If we have excess water, so removal of excess water, that will be coming in the category drainage. So in the first topic, that is your addition of water for irrigation purposes, various techniques are used for water to be used for irrigation purposes. First one on your screen is in the channel form, where water, this is generally used where ample quantity of water is available and land is leveled. Then flooding, we can flood water only when we have enough quantity of water. Sprinkler irrigation. So this sprinkler irrigation is used where we have limited quantity of water. So with the help of this sprinkler in the form of fauras, this is in this technique we use water in the form of fauras. So in this is a very useful method. Why? Because in this method water consumption is very less in comparison with above two methods in the channel or flooding. Second beauty of this method is that no soil erosion takes place, no nutrients lost there, and major advantage of this method is that we save water. Then again ring method. So this is generally used for various fruit trees and others. Again in this is a useful method, but it is a time consuming. Drip irrigation. This is basically a drip irrigation. These sprinkle and drip irrigation, these are the techniques which are used by the country Israel. These are very good techniques used to be used nowadays because water conservation is there. Wastage of water, we avoid wastage of water. Similarly, water reaches up to the mark where it required. No wastage of water, no loss of nutrients, no soil erosion. So these are the best techniques which we can use for irrigation nowadays. Sprinkler as well as drip irrigations. So these are the topics of your water management. In that series also, when we talk about water management, so then we have to also discuss how we can maintain moisture in the soil, how we can maintain water in the soil. So this we have already discussed, various methods we have already discussed. So in that also one more is your graded wounds and water storage. So these are first one graded wounds. These are again used in the hilly areas. You can see when we go in hilly areas, number of stones, big stones are gathered and then wire is used. The main purpose is this method is generally used where heavy rainfalls are there, where rainfall is more than 600 mm. So the basic purpose of this method or is to avoid soil erosion. The next main reason is to reduce the velocity of the water. Clear? So then next is water storage in ditch. So this is again during rainy seasons. If we store water in ditch, so we serve two purposes. One is that water speed is reduced. Second one is that water which we have collected during the rainfall that we can use in the summer when the shortage of water is there. Clear? So in that this in the water management drainage, so in the earlier lecture we have also discussed that removal of if some excess water is there, so we have to remove that. So removal of that excess water is your in the this third category. So various channels and various drainage methods are used to drain the excess water. Now we have discussed soil management. We have discussed our water management. Now the next topic is how we have to manage the crops, crop management, which is also very important. Crop management. So growing suitable crops and their proper management. Growing suitable crops, because in the earlier discussion we have also discussed that if a monocrop pattern is there, that also goes for wasteland later on. So growing suitable crops and their management, this is again one of the approach which goes to the your reclaiming the wasteland. Clear? So similarly, the crops which we select, which we decides that these types of crops to be used for wasteland, the crops should be like that. They should have minimum rate of transpiration. They should have minimum requirements of nutrients, minimum rate of transpiration they should have, minimum nutrients they should have, and they should have drought tolerant. Clear? So only those crops are selected for wastelands which have these characteristics, like minimum rate of transpiration, lesser nutrient requirements, and drought tolerant. Clear? So next factor is in the crop management is you are growing leguminous crops and applying them young in the soil. Multiple cropping, mixed cropping, and crop rotation is done. So growing leguminous crops, we have already discussion that in that uh, nitrogen is transferred in the soil. Clear? So we should, in case of wasteland reclamation, we should motivate the mixed cropping, multiple cropping, and crop rotation. Clear? So this is also part of your crop management. Then amla and jatropha plantation. This is also a big booster for your wasteland reclamation. Amla, all we know, because that amla is very rich in vitamin C, and that vitamin C is very useful for increasing the immunity of your body. Because due to corona period nowadays, everybody is talking about the increase of immunity in the body. So this vitamin C plays a very vital role in increasing the immunity of the human body. So this amla is very rich in vitamin C. So basically, this for this amla plantation or growing of amla, the all conditions are suitable, which we have discussed in the wasteland reclamation. Means this plant is having minimum rate of transpiration, less nutrients required is there, that is also drought tolerant. And same case is with jatropha plantation. Jatropha is again a plant. So from that plant we can have the oil that can be used for biodiesel also. This jatropha plant can be used for biodiesel production also. So again, this can grow in these conditions which we have discussed, means drought tolerant, minimum rate of transpiration, and less nutrient requirement. So these are the two plants which are very useful, like amla and jatropha, and we can go for these plantation. Then the next topic comes in the your crop management is your fuel wood plantation. है ना? So the land which we cannot use for agricultural purposes, that we can have plantation with fast growing species of trees having rotation cycle of 4 to 7 years. So this is also again important factor which we can use for wasteland reclamation in the heading crop management. Clear? So that we can use that plants we can use for various purposes. For fuel wood we can use for local area, we can use for the food for various animals and cattle. Clear? So this is all three managements which we have discussed. First one we have discussed your soil management. Second one we have discussed your water management, and thirdly we have discussed your crop management. Now the next important discussion is that where we stands as far as wasteland scenario is concerned, where our country stands, where our country India stands. So our country is a country having various wide variation geographically, geologically, climatically, from north to south, east to west, as we know. Na? In India, some part is like that. There is always minus temperature throughout the year, and in some part is like Chirapunji, where whole of the year rainfall is there. You know. So in some desert areas there where very temperature is very high. So we have a variety of seasons, variety of variation as far as geography, geological and climatic conditions is there from east to south. So as far as our country is concerned, we have only 2.4% of world's geographical area. We have only 2.4% of the world's total world geographical area, but we sports around 16% of the total world population. That is the reason why the conditions are different in our country than those developed countries like US, Canada, Australia. This is the big reason. We in those countries population is less, area is more. In our country, area is less, population is more, and all the problem starts from here. Area is less, population is more, and pressure on that area will be more. So this is the main reason from where our all of the problem starts. Why we go to US, Canada, Australia, or other developed countries, UK? Because the basic difference between our country and those countries, they have more area, less population. We have less area, more population. So all the problem starts from here. So further, our country India has only 0.5% of Earth's grazing land. Only we have total world's 0.5 half percent of the world's grazing land. But again, the population of the animals and cattle of our country is 18% of the world's population. So that is the reason why the problems are there in our country. We have 2.4% of the world area, but we have approximately 16% of the world population. We have only half percent of the world's grazing land, but we are having 18% of the world's cattle population. So scenario will be different when we compare our country with the developed countries like US, Canada, and Australia, and all UK. Clear? So this tremendous pressure on land, again, it is one of the reasons why this productive land are converted into a wasteland. Because when pressure will be there, then all the resources will be overexploited, overused. So then the various problems arise. So now different agencies have made different assessments as far as wastelands in India are concerned. So their data is different of different agencies. Why? Because different agencies use different methods for estimation. One agency use one method, other agency use other method. Similarly, they use different wasteland classification. So data is shown on your screen given by the various Indian agencies. Next thing is we have, as far as our country is concerned, we have classified this wasteland into 8 categories. We have classified this wasteland into 8 categories as far as the country is concerned. So this slide shows that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. These are the 8 categories which our country had classified to the total wasteland available. Now, this is some of the data of some of the facts of the wasteland in India as per your Wasteland Atlas of India 2010. That we have total geographical area of 329 mega hectares. The data is given in front of you. So this is the data which shows wasteland scenario in India as per Atlas of Wasteland Atlas of India 2010. This is again in the series of that shows where we stand as far as wastelands are concerned. This is the map which shows in the map form wasteland map, which can you easily see. The period is different. This is also again in the mapping form. This is in the tabular form. This has been basically published by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Government of India, as per the statistical year 2017. So from this table, you can easily see that when we see the table in year 2000 and year 2010, you can easily see that government is trying their level best to reduce the number of wastelands. As we can easily see that in year 2000 it was 6,38,518, and in year 2010 it has reduced from 6 lakhs to 4 lakhs something. Not 4 lakhs, it is 41,000 only. So government is trying very hard to convert this wasteland into useful land, because that also requires due to population pressure. This is again that data shows state wise. Now, what do we conclude from all discussion which we have done? We now summing up the lecture. So, due to large number of anthropogenic and natural activities, basically due to large number of man-made and natural activities, the land degradation has increased. No outsider has done this thing. We human being has done this thing. Due to that, land degradation has increased. second point is, in order to support the ever increasing population of humans and domesticated animals, there is utmost need to recreate the wasteland. I have already discussed that total world area we have only 2.4%, and population of the world is 16%, which we are having. Similarly, 0.5% of the grazing land is available, and whereas population 18% of the world's population. So for these two big factors, there is at most need to reclaim the waste lands, and government of India is already on this mission. Clear? So all the governments of different countries are already on the mission for this conversion or reducing these wastelands into useful land which can be used for various purposes. So all the countries of various all the governments of various countries are doing, and our Indian government, from the data we can easily see, which we have earlier discussed, that in 2000 and in 2010, so already government of India is on the mission. So then this was all about your wasteland management. Thank you all again. I am thankful to the organizers, especially Bhor Singh ji, for giving me a chance to share my views on this topic with a very good and sensible audience. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot. So, audience, if you want to have any queries, you can please ask the question. So, anyone who wants to ask something related to the lecture, so he can put his question forward. So, I think it is clear because it was a very general lecture related to wasteland management. So, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, Dr. Manjeet Bansal, as you have delivered such a nice and wonderful talk to the audience. So, thanks a lot, sir.
Okay,
So,
thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, audience, we will again assemble at 2:30 p.m. today. So, our next session is at 2:30. So, Mr. S.K. Sahu, scientist from Punjab Remote Sensing Center, will be handling the lecture. So, we will see you at 2:30. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.